Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Lawyer Mom Diaries. I'm Michelle.
And I'm Lalaine. Thanks for joining us today. We have a special episode lined up today, especially for those of you juggling school, work, and life. If you've ever pulled an all nighter for school after your work shift, this episode is for you.
Right. And we're talking about being working students, the struggle, the sacrifice, the strength, the grit. We're not here, though, to glamorize poverty, but to honor the resilience of those who didn't give up, those who had to hustle, and those who chose to rise.
All right, so let's dive in. I'll share some stories later, but let's start with you first. What was your very first job as a student or while being a student? What was your first job?
I remember my first real hustle was selling soap and vitamins house to house. But I was also like helping my parents before when we had a pharmacy in Leyte. I would help them sell medicines. And I remember when I was in first year college, pitching products with sales kit in one hand and school notes in the other. And later on, I worked night shifts at JP Morgan as a call center agent in IT Park Cebu. Shout out to my colleagues there. And while I was going to school during the day,
Yeah, that was so intense. How were you able to manage your time, working student, different jobs, whereas as a young mother, did you ever feel like you have to give up at this time?
a lot of times, honestly. There were days I didn't know where my next meal would come from. I'd attend class hungry, sleep on borrowed beds, pretend to go to my friend's house to catch up, but actually to just catch sleep. And I'd ride jeepneys with just enough coins. I remember I was calling my friend and saying, "Uy, what na ko'y plite, ga ikaw plite dire." And there was one time, well, the shoes that I was using going to school, it broke. So I had to call a friend again. So thank you so much to all of my friends who helped me. And but I didn't really give up because giving up means wasting all the sacrifices that my parents did for me, my siblings, and also I had already a child when I was in third year college. So I didn't have the option to give up. So I just pushed and pushed.
Wow, it was so amazing. But what was your turning point? The moment you realized all the sacrifices, juggling work and student life was all worth it.
It was all worth it when I graduated in architecture. I eventually became an architect here in the Philippines and a lawyer. The real win was really knowing that I didn't quit. The struggle became the story, and now every time I enter a courtroom or review a contract, I carry all those sleepless nights with me as proof that I made it. And, I made it with God with me.
So, from all of these experiences, what lesson have you learned as a working student that you still carry at present?
Perhaps three things. First, discipline. Second, gratitude. And third, resourcefulness. I learned to be disciplined because I had to maximize the limited time that I had. Resourcefulness because I didn't have much. So I have to make do with everything that I had. And gratefulness that despite all the struggles, I remain grateful of what I have. And that's what really inspired me to push harder and to survive. I learned that your background doesn't really define you, it's your decisions that do.
I love what you said, Shell. It's so true. Being a working student isn't just a financial thing, it's emotional, it's mental. Every time I hear working student stories, I get chills because I know each one is a survival story, each one is a great story.
Right. Well, now, Attorney Lalaine, I want to hear from you. And I'm sure a lot of our listeners also want to hear your struggle of being a working student. I know you've been through your own share of struggles and triumphs. Tell us, what kind of work did you do while studying?
So, as what I have initially shared in the prior episode, while I was in law school, from the very first year to fourth year, I was teaching at the same time. I teach by the day, go to law school by the night. So that's my story. Like you, I had my shares also of, I had my share of like riding the jeepney, going from one campus to another, and heading to law school at night, reading in the bus, reading in the jeepney for my oral recitation at night. And that was like my working student struggle.
Grabe, no? That must have taken a lot out of you. But I'm curious, what were the hardest moments during that time?
I think the hardest moment, Shell, is not on the that you have so much obligations and responsibilities, but how to cope with your emotions, the problems you have in personal life, how to like be responsible enough to feel this way because it's a struggle. You have an exam in the coming night, but you still have like a family to attend to. You have a sick father, a mother that you have to help to, your siblings. So everything emotional, mixed of emotions, but you can't afford to freak out. You can't afford to cry. You can't afford to let your emotions rule because you are struggling. So I have to be there, take the exam no matter what. I have to face my students, lecture them no matter what emotional bother that I have on that day. I have to face everyone. But that day really made me feel like giving up, but somehow I just kept going.
Wow. Like, that's really a story of grit and tenacity. But did you ever feel at one point embarrassed or ashamed about being a working student? You know how it is. Sometimes there's a stigma that when you're working your way through school, and you being a professor in political science and then a law student, was there a time that you got embarrassed about it?
Actually, no, it's not feeling of embarrassment. It's more of like there were times I really wish I'm a full-time student. When I go inside a classroom and you see that a lot of your classmates are, have a whole day to study. And here you are, you've got only an hour to catch up before the oral recitation. So that's the feeling. But it's not on being embarrassed because it's more of being fulfilling that you're able to juggle study and work at the same time.
Right.
But there's nothing to be embarrassed of. I think
During those times, what kept you going during, those low moments, during those times that you didn't have enough time to study? And I can also relate to that, feeling of, oh, will I get called today? I only had a few minutes to study and read the cases. What kept you going?
the dream of becoming a lawyer, it's really holding on to my dream, the dream that sooner or later I will make my parents proud. So it's always mindset. Okay, keep going, continue because eventually you'll get there to becoming a lawyer.
Right. Well, that's really powerful mindset. It's all about how you perceive things and just to focus on the good things, your goals. Now that you're on the other side of it, being a lawyer, a professor, a mom, how do you feel when you look back at that chapter of your life?
Times I would say, wow, I was able to, like what you've said and what you felt, Namurag, we were able to manage it. So that was really tiring, stressful, but it's so fulfilling. I think you were able to feel the victory now simply because you went all through those challenges. And I think that's the best part of it, the victory that you feel afterwards.
I
Yes.
can definitely agree with that.
You can
And
relate.
I can relate, I can resonate with that thought. And I think every working student listening to this right now needs to hear what you just said. Now, if you had to give just a few lessons or tips to someone who's in the thick of it, working by day, studying by night, what would you tell them?
Number one, do not compare yourself to your other classmates, because the moment you compare, the moment you feel pressure, the moment it would be difficult for you to handle. So never say that they have the whole time to study, they're like relaxed, they don't have problems, so much better. The moment you think more of these, the moment it would be difficult for you to surpass the challenges. Number two, always think of the end of it, which is your dream. Hold on to that, because as long as we're able to do it, as long as there's hard work, there's perseverance, there's this passion for it, you can go and get and grab for it. Although not at all times it's a success story as ours, but at least you've tried your very best till the end. But if the universe will tell you, okay, it's really not for you, at least you say, I didn't had any part of me that gave up just like that. I did my best. So I think that's what I want to tell those working students.
Wow. So to all working students out there, just do what you have to do, persist. And, I love what you really said. So real and so honest. You're a living proof, Attorney Lane, that working students aren't just surviving, they're building something.
We
that,
are.
yes, we are, because we are both working students. We're building, all working students are building something that no one can ever take away from them. And that's
Yes.
their grit to go through life no matter what. And thank you so much for that, Attorney Lane. Thank you for sharing that part of your story.
And thank you also, Shell. While we have different timeline and different approach, but I can say that what we had in the past made us better persons right now. And to all the working students, please know that your journey is valid. Your hustle is seen and your dream is worth the sacrifice.
Right. And, let's keep lifting each other up. We're rooting for you guys. And, Attorney Lane, what's your message to students who are working right now and feel like they're really at their limit already?
Kaya mo yan.
Aja, aja.
Right.
So, thank you so much, guys, for listening. Remember that you are not alone. You are not less than. If anything, you are becoming more. And every sacrifice you make now, it's shaping the strength you'll need later. And keep going. Just trust the process. Trust God.
And to those who have already walked the path, we see you, we honor you. You are the unsung heroes of your own stories.
That's really beautiful, Attorney Lane. And whether you're working the night shift, selling whatever products, food, helping in the family business, or freelancing online, your hard work matters.
And this episode is for all the working students out there. Keep grinding, keep growing, and always remember your why.
We hope our stories gave you strength. If you loved this episode, please share it. Follow us on Spotify and YouTube at Lawyer Mom Diaries and let us know your own student hustle stories.
Until the next time, this is Lawyer Mom Diaries, law, life, and lessons from two women who've been through it all.
Bye for now.